Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to learn the English of class 10, Coursebook, lesson number 2, page number 19. I hope you are ready with your books. And the lesson is about a little girl who got a star of courage for saving the lives of her friend. And she's from Australia. And it's a true story. So let's begin our lesson. Kasoy ang kan Australia ramatil klengania may tinaw pang kumsong panimin at yan pa at sansuaka tina lakata crocodile na ase selhum nge turang ay ka at sansuaka ro puilene mi in minun na an san hian an dan hi kan shachak fauchina Mizoram tipo le India ramatipo hoisen lo manandon fauchin ka kan lasya anga tun huna kan zirtur po hi chutiang hoisen ngai tu ana po mangman lo ngay tua na po mang manlo ani laya bidang nun na hialan san ka kilro pui top khok ani lesson nila enila read the true account of a Petalin man who at the age of 12 saved her friend from the crocodile attack when they were on a hunting trip kan soyang khan an ramwa na muna thil thleng ani ngai nom lutuk longai ngun takin longai thlaro. As she climbed into the truck on that bright afternoon in 1981, 12-year-old Petalin man felt a flutter of excitement less than an hour before she had come from a boarding school in Darwin to her home. Chaka chuan an lona 1981 kumania Petalin kumsong panting elek no pangchu phure mai ni achan chu darkar chanve liam luk no wakhan hostel train on chwa kan chu boarding school kan ti hi hostel building lian pui mai ania khatachang khanin aron chwa ka cholte aron mangdona phur mai ni chu. Now she was going for a drive into the tropical countryside she loved so much. Tropical countryside kan ti chu an in omna atanga hlalote a khanin ram noi ngo oma ma se tropical kan ti chon hi southern hemisphere lam kholum omna le thingkung velina abo mo ram noi ram ngo kha hun ram noi ram ngo ka mun nai te an nei ni chu chuta chuan an kaldona ni. The region abounded in wildlife, pigs, buffaloes, crocodiles and a variety of birds. Kalai mun kha ram ngo ania ramsa le savate po nung cha te chang shangan omani. Her parents Robert and Wendy Mann were away, so their young partner Hilton Graham 23 was taking care of Petalin. Hilton Graham kumsomni pathumbi khanin Petalin ka alo puidona ni chu anchian pa anchian cha ania. The two were great friends and Graham had planned an outing as a treat for Petalin. Graham chuanin uplo plan dan chuan Petalin lo khonga a treat dona ni churam sati an mananga tui taksa kha a ipuidon kakalo dream ve alo in ma khwa ve ni chu. We'll hunt an animal to a barbecue out on an island, he said. Soidan chuan chu ramsa kan changa kan ka panga so kan barbecue wang tia barbecue chu kan shevekanga hey sate an urmin thena chhum lovin kang lovin a ura urmin kha tuibik a hang bik thena ni chu barbecue khania island atangin ramsa an mana khan barbecue dona chungvel chu an soi puibok. And he started the truck and headed down the track towards Palm Spring, a spot 20 kilometers away and almost cut off by swamped. 20 kilometers ahla khania darkar khat velbor aniang kal kong turanga khachu tazon an kaldona truck in kala Palm Spring mun chu nijena kan soi ramsa tam tak omna khania tazon an kaldona ni. Although called an island, the area was joined to a land by a narrow strip. Island nimas island chu thliar karania khami ram leilu atanga wa hla akara khanin tui in hwal vek tur khani tama se helai mun hi chu narrow strip kongjim te khan apo ve ni chu ashan pa longa vakal kher ngai lo khan island chu ni thauma se. They came to a stop in a clearing under the banyan tree. They went straight to a heavy flat-bottom boat. These boats carry their propeller well above the waterline to travel easily over reeds and shallows. Dichuan kalna hun chu banyan tree bung lian pui omna noya kan anwa thlenga chuan anwakal zela long among kha aphek turania long kha khata khanin anwa mungala chuan propeller an vua thina propeller chu hei a vir thei a engine pe thei tu tur ani chu chu I engine hmana ngai na chan kha chu an kalna hmuna kha hruizam te a oma chu ba ka thuk deuh lai kha an tang lo nan propeller kha an vua ani chu an mention deuh kher an long man ruwa kha Graham, tall and strongly built, shoved it out on the muddy brown swamped water. He slung his rifle across his back steadily. Graham, tall and strong, built, shoved it out on the mud-brown swamped water. Graham chu sik thade mai hi nia ti chuanin an long om na khan va pana mud-brown swamp kan te chu hei chir tui bulve ni wang khan chir dup te po kha oma khata khanin an nor son ve ani. He slung his rifle across his back, studied the boat while Petalin stepped in. Ti chuan long vel chuan en fia Petalin kha longa khan lo chuang ata ani Graham khanin an thli thlai ve ani chu then push clear. Graham's nose through the jungle of paper bark trees and creepers in the hope of surprising and shooting an animal. Ti chuan Petalini longa thut lai khan Graham chuanin an enkwal vela ekram hnoi vela kha paper bark trees chu an thing ming te kha ni a tin creepers kan te chu hei hruizam te kha khang vel omna hmuna khanin ramsa enge moni khan lo mel kurem ka ngal mai thei ni em ti te kha an enkwal vela ni munla taka kalngai lovin. Petalin crouched in a bow staring into the dense vegetation, hardly daring to speak above a whisper. Ti chuan ramsa te I an lo ti chitte khan hlawa chon zoite in mo whisper atong kha atong se ngam chawani chu anin biak po khan. Suddenly around 5:30 p.m. the boat ran aground in the shallow. Ti chuanin voile khata khanin khami dar nga le chan ve khania khatia an han hoi vel lai khanin Graham upon along te an khoi vel lai khanin long kha hei le kha ala shu ta ni chu thuk de ulek lai khanin akal mai theilawa. Graham unhitched his rifle and clambered overboard to push the airboat into deeper water. Ti chuan long te chu an nor vel ani achan chu ala enge ala kal chuak lova tin a rifle te po kha hnunga khanin an hnunga pai kan ti kha mo a pai nen khan khang te kha an la chuak vela an phel vela khatia anin phel lai ta khanin as he did so his pistol slipped from the hostler and fell into the swamp. A pistol kha tu ya khana thlata dei mai ni chu a pai atang khana tlatha. The water reached only to Graham's calves chu achon thleng khane tui khan dai towa, so he knelt around to a muddy bottom chon le chu an rapa an thing chia a silai a pistol chon zongani. I'll tie up the boat and give you a hand, Petalin said, jumping in and wading a couple of meters to the bank. Khatia a pistol beran a silai beran tlak to si chon Petalin khanin long hi kan thlung tha anga I'll tie up the boat. Chuan karon puyang che atia tlem meters la de uleka khanin an omna tangin an zuang chuaka long te thlung cha tur khan an phel vek to an kal vek to tur khan ni ta ma se an pistol ber khatla ka wang khan an buai de utani chu chutian buai lai chuan enge thil thleng splash tuiron ri de chuai mai. Graham was startled by the sudden sound in the water close behind him. Ti chuan tuir ri de chuai khan in an bul maya khan Graham khan. He turned and found himself staring down the throat of the crocodile, nearly 4 meters long. Meter khatzat kan shianga hi korte po pon than kan tein diveli meter khatania meter li vel hla khanin enge mu chu crocodile mo ole ang an ha te sei em kha moi sei bok hatam bok lo ang phuaw mai ni chu. Its jaw opened like a giant trapped. Ha kha mo tan to so na phel don lo ti kha shat sa rap thlar tuk azuk mungal. As he raised his left arm in a gesture of defense, tingay na to lo aron zuan don crocodile chu tuyan chakani tuye champion an ne ti hian alo indang ani chu akut khan aron zuan tur chia mai kha aron hap tur kha a bristling row of rapier like teeth snapped together. Aron hap the chat mai ni chu bana chuan Graham felt a burning pain shoot up his arms. ti chuan na vong kha ron feel nga lani crocodile in se bet ta chat mai rap thlak don ani. The crocodile, its jaw firmly fastened on Graham's arm. So as we have said, the crocodile has snapped, fastened on Graham's arm. He couldn't move. Began to roll over, but for some reason it released its hold. So we all know that when crocodile snapped on his prey, it began to roll over so that they get drowned in the water. Crocodile ti chuan an thil man re re ki ti han an se beta tuya an hnu klat an han roll puya tuiten hak tira ti chuan an e me thin ani kha kha thil thlek tur kha nita ma se vani thak takin for some reason it released its hold at phel engani a chhuat ta hlau mai ne chu crocodile khan. Graham grabs in anguish. Help, Peta, Peta, he cried to the girl on the bank. Helaya lui kam devalau om Peta khan aw vak vaka e mang ang tak mai khan. She stood rooted with horror. Anila aron en rap thakatilutuk. A despairing thought flashed through Graham's mind. What could a little girl do anyway? Chuan Graham ril ro rom zok khacho intinge ani me cheno pangkum som pani lekin enge boti thei chuang ang le tin abedong ngal to pani chu. Graham got up on his knees as the crocodile thrashed wildly with its tail. A meite khavaya ron aron in sangbar le ne chu crocodile chu ron kal le nge don ti ka so sha thaya. Graham apo kha athing thi to ni chu ti chuan in now the reptile lunged at him from side and stuck again. Asir zong in aron vele ta crocodile chuanin aron petle ta ni its jaw clamped tightly on Graham's right thigh and he felt himself being pulled much more vigorously than before. Amma ayin na sa khanin amal pui dingna ma khan aron petle ta ni amma ayin na sa kan ti to kha an pot zui boka blood gushed from his forearm nichina abana se kan ti to kha kha thisen te kha ron swak pop to ni chu a ha tam kan ti to kha crocodile chu. He tried desperately to get a firm footing on the mud. Chuan in ra khalangai ta ni en ra khalo chuan tinge niang crocodile khan tui chuka a potlu don kan ti kha. Unless he could hold on, grab something, the crocodile would pull him down into the deeper water. Tuna kan soi ka ang khan. He knew crocodile rolled over and over, often drowning their prey before tearing into pieces. Crocodile chuan mi an se chuan ichena kan soi to a an potlu ta an roll puya tu en hak tira ti chuan an thing vak vaka an thing dar ve kani ru te an sa an ka alu to kha chu an ru te an tak sak ve khatan hom vek theilo ma se an thing chia ma an thing pher ve ka ti chuan a in do tan ei to mai thina ni kha khang khang Graham chan tur ani ti po ma pon shereng ani chu. Already Graham could feel the reptile unbelievable power. Malpuya an sele po chu a chak hle ni ti kha chmo unbelievable power he rin phak bakin a chak lu to kani I an petle chia kha. As his own feet were slipping further from the security of the nearby bank, he thrust out his right arm and screamed, Peta, grab, hold. Ti chuan ama aina potna kan ti to kha tin vaukam lam atang khana potlu to bok sia aban dinglam kha ala aule ta shama Peta, grab, hold. Peta min vuan ro atia. Petalin felt no fear now. Petalin chuan amang andate sia a eng ma hlau to bik lo ti chuan indige Petalin chuan on ti tak. She waded back into the murky water and called, hang on, Graham. Aron tlana lo ha ro aron te aron tlan nga ni tui thok le thok ro po ngai to lo kan Graham malam ka aron pan thata pop popa. The water was up to her knees as she slithered into the mud. Ti chuan tui te po chu a khup thleng aron dai thla. Then she reached out for his arm and grabbed it with both hands. She planted her feet into the marsh, flaxed her knees and pulled with all her might. It was like a tug of war. Petalin po chuan in rabiten in siama ti chuan a thei pato pin Graham ban chu a pota an potlet ve ni chu tug of war kan ti chu in shui po ang mai khan a le lama crocodile a changa a le lama Petalin a oma ti khana in potani. She thought with Graham the rope and unless she pulled him he would die. Ni chena kan soeng khan apo viau lo chuan in Graham kha crocodile na changi don ani chu tin heta hianin kan sha tur chu mi va chan po hian an ro puin em chu mi kan chan chua don hian rabi kan in siam anga ya mi va chan ringo da ke mani chakna kan chan chuan mi kan chan chuak don lo ni petalini felna hi chu a thua ka mangani chu rabi a in siam tlat ti chuan a potle the ani tam tak chuan tui tla te po kan chanin arabi emo avon chan tur kan in siam lo chuan kan zuk chan na lama khan ke mani po kan una kan chan tel dei china hela hi petalini finna tak kan chen chia tur pakhat chu ani bokani. Out in the deeper water, the crocodile was splashing furiously. Ti chuan tui thuk lama chuanin crocodile chu a changa a meite kha avai vak vaka thin rim khop maya. It wouldn't let go of Graham's tie, and Petalin now realized with horror that gradually she was being dragged forward. Ti chuan Petalin in apodring chung khan crocodile kha chakbok sia tuilama khan an tol thlashet shet ti kha Petalin khan a shetheya. The crocodile was winning the tug of war. Crocodile chuan ne na changdon nge mai apot chakzo ka tangtlat mai tui kha athiam na hmun ani si ani Petalini le lama me se no pangkum som pani chau ani kan ti to kha. It was a bloody sight. Kisen achu alwang na sa to Graham hliam le ase na zong kha. After what seemed like Petalin a very long time, actually only a minute or two, Petalin tan chuan re ti khop mai apot tang a thei petopin masian in taka chuan minute ni khatba ka nilowa. The crocodile suddenly spun Graham round full circle underwater. Nitina kan soing khan crocodile en mi an man chuan an virpui kan tika tuna hian se bet tata seng hit ta tia khan han roll pui tum ta ni chu. Petalin was swept off her feet ani avwan tu po chu avor dora an pani chuan still clutching Graham's arm. Graham ban kha a phel du mi alo a thla du mi alo was dragged under the water too. An pani chuan tuila ma chuan potlut zela. The crocodile could easily drown them both. An pani khan tui an tlange don ani. She knew a shiani chu unless she fought on. Thei pato chuan chuan. Righting herself, she searched for a foothold on the bottom. Ain siam rim vata a hun ne yang ang khan. Ti chuan a ke rabi khain siam le vata dakha toes and bull with all her might again. A kizung pui po khamang tangkai ne chu ain haya le khamichir dup thei pato pin ara khal na tur khain siam vata. If only she succeeded in holding on, the crocodile might open its jaw just long enough to pull off. The crocodile might open its jaw just long enough to for her to pull Graham's free. Graham khatia apo kha thei pato pa apo kha apoi mo na chu crocodile khan in athla zok chuan apot let vat thei don khan a in shia ani. The water reached above her waist now. Tuna chuan in kong kleng ni to tui kha chuan hnuk lut na sa to ni, but she kept her grip vuan tlat. Even when the vicious tug from the crocodile again dragged Graham's shoulder, neck, and then his face, as she thought she'd lost him, but she gasped for breath and kept pulling. Crocodile kana pot zela tuna chuan a kong ti a mai te thleng to a chan ngei don khan in shetoni ma se thok ti an la a pot ngat ani thla do lo. Suddenly the crocodile stopped rolling. Crocodile chu khatia a vir na kha an tople. The thuta Petalin felt herself falling backward into the marsh, dragging Graham towards her. Khatia apo nalama khan Graham khan chu aviran tople thuta an pani khan an bek the door mai ne chu wani thla takin. His head broke the surface as he spurted, gasping for air. Graham apo kha alu kha tuya khan he an vodeu chora per choya tin boruak te po kha an hipa. The reptile still had a hold on him. Alav wondering crocodile khan a roll kha hetia avir pui tu makha a thla chau kha nita avir kha masela se bet ringa chuanin. But then 5 paces from the land it unaccountably let go and sank back into the depth. Mase shia thiam theilo crocodile khanin a thale ta lau mai ni chu. Petalin pulled furiously on Graham's arm. Petalin khan nasatagina podora. Graham, come on! He staggered out, stunned, his face deadly white with expressionless. Blood seemed from his arms and thigh. Tichuan vaka athian pa chu Graham haro ani po ti hianin aron cheve nok noka athi to mo ti do ati ni chumo se business to mai sia ti chuan mai te po chu avar veka dang veka ti sen kha a chuan na sel tu amal puya se to a ba na se to boka chuanin engma om zeni lo khanin a om deuh tran to ni Graham kha ti sen chuang na sa si they had barely taken 2 steps when crocodile broke through the water again with a noisy splash ti chuan pen ni kha an let dor kan ti kha pen ni an pen man nung lama an om dan tur chu kan sianga Petalin khan hey she keep holding Graham she must have helped her to go backward ta khanin crocodile kha aron chele ngei don he lui ka ma te po kan mu fo thina crocodile chu an wak chuak thui thei em hi tu ya chon om lowa ke nei tlata ta chuanin thei patop khanin a pot like an po like khanin crocodile po kha ron ribuan buana it snapped wildly at Graham right buttock among aron chele ta among dinglama khan aron chele and succeeded in ripping his flesh through his khaki pants avun kha aron se atet athler ani chu avuna khanin a flash mo ati sa te potelang ama kha se be thei to lo ma se among kha avun tele akorte akikor hak de kha se til ngal veka but Petalin gave a sharp tuck and the giant reptile lost his hold and fell back ron sele ma se Petalin khan apot ne ta shim to chu wang chuan a se be thei te lowa crocodile khan blood streaked the water as the beast lay waiting ti chuanin thisen kha nuai to maya beast kan ti suram salawam mo crocodile kha soina ni lo nga krenga haple tur te poni nge yang its eyes above the surface watching ron mil kur mai ni chu laum om ron chile don nge ti nge ma lak dan tur khalongai to aveni desperate the two scrambled up the bank and Petalin helped Graham to a tree about 50 meters distant ti chuan thei pato pin a chakna zong zong in Petalin kan Graham kan hnuk chuak zela 15 meters ala kan hnuk chuak thei ta ni far enough she hop platok to rangai for the crocodile not to attack again aron che thei to lo tur nge a chuan ngai ni chu Graham could barely move weak from the shock and loss of blood Graham chu che thei a che thei to lo ni a chau to thisen hlau nam to ti kan soya Petalin saddled him against the tree thingkung noya chuan a thutira his shirt was in shreds from shoulder to sleeves thomno te po kha chet chevek to korbante akorra ki korte kha chet neng nuang to mai ni his trousers were ripped to tatters trousers so ki kor ha kha khang te po kha clear sung to maya wait here she said I'll get the truck Petalin kum so pani mi khan tingeti tahan lo ngak ro truck kan lange ti mai ni chu motor kha khalthiam em kan shelo she sprinted 2 kilometers along the jungle track chuan ha thikulin hun kha uiom to ni athian pa thi to ni don lo shat lo ti chuan in thei paling ko chak khanin jungle track mo khami huan konga khan vatlanin then picked her way through open countryside to the vehicle ram atang khanin dikhan ram khalayan mun kalkong atang khan an motor dana kha awatleng tani fortunately van nei thak takin when she was young Graham had taught her to drive in the open country hey I know pangani la han Graham khan khalalo zirtira lo motor kha lo ti ve nok to ni so now she quickly turned on the ignition in the truck and drove back as fast as she could across the rough terrain kong kha thadon lo ni ti kan sha to ram noi kong ania rough terrain ati nge hi ta chuan ron khal ange an engine kha ignition kha a engine kha an tinunga ti chuanin man mo theyang ber khan ron khal chuak ta ni Graham was limping towards the truck when she come upon him aron let le jang Graham kha lo bai oi oya motor omna lam kha aron pan phei ni so she leaped and helped him on the passenger seat ti chuan passenger thudana ma khana puya he is proud there on his left side his wounded thigh and buttock uppermost and his lacerated left arm hanging limply on his side ti chuan passenger seat a thutira avelam kha adilangai to kha adinglam zong kudinglam mong dinglam a se vek to kha avelam khan an thu kwal vela theng ang khanin ti chuanin taksa te po chu thliam na sa to mai sia tre clear pheng phung to mai ni vun te kha his left arm hanging limply at his side aban aveilam phe kha chu a che hlei thei to lo ti han in khai top mai ni chu aban kha aru te po khoi te po ni mai thei. It was 6:05 p.m. and growing dark as they set off to Channel Point. Channel Point lama an kaldona daruk le minute nga velin to khwa po thim chan to mai thei. A few hundred meters on the track, Graham passed out. Tle man kal nu khan Graham ka thidang tatlat mai tingyen yang. Petalin wondered whether she should stop. She took a hand off the steering wheel and shook him. Ti chuan a fel ro kan ti kha he nau hi an kai thowa an ti ding lo ka motor khan kai thowa nor nok ka ti chuan in engtin nge om ti kha an check vela. You're not going to die on me, are you? Min thi san don lo ti ro. Ani em atia an soi nok ani chu. Graham grunted in an audible reply, then fainted again. Ti chuan ti na o khat lem te khat chwa ti chuan a faintly a thidang le zela. Just before they reached Petalin homes, she began to moan. Don't die, Graham, don't die, Petalin sobbed. Petalin kamang ang tolo tok an chapa thisu o ati anin han thlen meu to kha chuan motor kha in khal chuak ve thakani chu. In her desperation got through of him, Graham now summoned all his strength and replied forcefully, die, the hell I will. Ti chuan a thei patop a be don na ti chu Graham chuan alo shia an yang chu thei patop in a tha nei zong kha an changa eng wangin nge ka thiang le aron ti ve a. Ti chuan there was nobody at home, but Graham dragged himself to the radio and called Walter Homestead 70 kilometers away. Tuma inan umlawa anu le pa an zinbo kan ti kha Petalin kha Graham a kuta an da a thian tha le rin tlak ani tian sia a. Ti chuan Graham a po chu thei angin radio kha ani chu mang an thila khan phone wa man kherangai lovin radio of in biak pona khan nei ni chu emergency man tur kha ta chon well 3 Homestead 70 kilometers akhanin la khan of phone. I've been badly bitten by a crocodile. I must get to the hospital. Peta will drive us towards Darwin. Send someone from Labelle to meet us. Labelle Homestead was there where his fiancée and her family lived. Ti chuan krok an soi zung crocodile min se a I hospital ka thlen watangai peta hianin Darwin thleng menun lamanga Labelle min lo mok tur khalo ta ula atia Labelle khami an phone zarza theina chu abial nu anupui hwalte in khalo nia ta chuan an in kha ava call theini chu. In the kitchen, Petalin grabbed a tin of antiseptic from first aid box. Ti chuan Petalin pon ati tur kha sia a hliam kha tuam dan wat angai ti kha sia a ta chuan in first aid box hei anni chun van nei ni hi lak mai thei turin first aid box te an da a chuta a chhuwa chuan enge om tur first aid box a om tlang pui kha an soi le lokila Dettol te betadine te kan da a plaster te bandage te rang taka enge mo hliam an oma athi han tuam bovat na tur kha angai ve ta chon Petalin chon an lavata. She pulled the clean sheets from the linen cupboard tin puan faisa puan them almera mi khan hong boka an la chwaka. She sprinkled the powder library over Graham's wound and draped sheets around him. Graham hliama ti chuanin khami puan fai te nen powder ani chu betadine an hnoilova a phutchi khan nei niang khang an phul zungzunga ti chuan an tuam tani. She decided not to waste time binding his wounds. She had to get him to the hospital fast. Hei Petalin fel na le tan puitlak ani na chu hun kha akhoral lova engma ti khomwan nan nei lo rang takin ahliam kha tuam wata ti chuan hospital kal pui wata ngai ni ti kha hre chiang ani. They got back to the truck and headed towards Darwin. Darwin lampan chuan khalle ta bopa Petalin chuan. Graham was slumped in the seat, but his eyes were open. Graham chu alet deu topa masea anma chu aminga. Every few minutes she checked to see if he was still conscious. Har time oti khan check deu reng boka. Occasionally her fear that he might die got the better of her, and she asked, "Are you still all right?" Graham could answer with a clip, "Yeah." Ti chuan khatia an check pa te khanin klemin athi doi dona lan na kha chu om talo deva chuan I thamo an tia Graham pon ya teron ti vezela aron chon reng ani chu. At last Petalin saw lights in the distance. chu tian kal lai chuan eng te lo muta an mani kha thingtlang an ni wangin kong te kha lun lo hle ani dona chu wang chuan heta motor dang local light eng kha muta ni. It was Graham fiance June 11 Townsend and her brother Henry in a Land Cruiser. That's one in an han va muta ka chu Graham nupui hualte le a brother a una pa Henry te kha anupui ming chu June 11 Townsend ania a brother to Henry kan ti kha chon Land Cruiser chu car lian de ulek chi paruk te po chuan thei chi angkha khatiang kha ron an lo ready thlapa. Petalin climbed in with him and they sped towards Darwin. This one rang takin Darwin lama chuan an tlan heitani. Just after 11 o'clock, they pull up to the emergency entrance of Darwin Hospital. This one zandar sompani a pel deu tia khan Darwin Hospital khan thlenga. Graham was rushed to the operating theatre in zaini room khan norlut ngal rang takin engkim khan shil sa where he was given 1500 cc of blood as well as antibiotic, tetanus and pain killing injection. This one tisin launa sa kan ti kha tisiran pengala din antibiotic chu nadna shikla ka ve na te tetanus hi la omlu tuka hliam zong a hiani kan sha tur chu naw ne ya te accident reng a tetanus nam do hi an pezia tetanus shik alu to chuan an khong thin ni chu jaw lock te an tia ngong hi a che theilo ti hian an da ka reng mai an khonga an khong i thla lu tuk tin engemo an che chon ru te po thliak thei thil an ha te kha chi tlat mai ni chu tikhanin dam si lo thi si lo tikhan rei taka thea chu vai no te apo hian tetanus injection vaccine te changpon kan lak hi kan lo che me donia rang takin tetanus khan pe and pain killing injection na chok na an pe boka 2 fractures in his left forearm arms were set aru te kha lo pila ta chuan mun nia lo pela khang ti khan han seta in his thigh gaping wounds 25 centimeters long were carefully cleaned and scraped that tissue. This one ahliam chu hey kan scale hi 30 centimeter ania 24 a full lo de olek kan scale kan chang kan foot rule khamizat lo de olek kha 24 centimeters angkha ahliam kha an thui ani chu after a week when it was clear that infection has not set in ti chuan kha ahliam neu khan ti an han en kola kar khat chungon en kol nuwa an thui chaw ni chu achan chu thui nan khan ser no khan lawm theya an film kur hle mai an dam do in ti dan chu rang takin an thui kher lo kan shat apui mo khop me ahliam an ti dam phot chon an thui le tuta kar khat ave ni chu after 2 weeks he stayed in hospital threw back at school again. This one da car ni hospital oma Petalin po chu school akalvele to Petalin was a regular visitor avatlo sick mai ni chu khami angai to hle mai athian pa chu she is a wonderful brave little girl Atia Graham Khan chuang regani. She had read and we had even talked about how dangerous crocodile could be. Kanchiar 14 crocodile la omna hi kanchiar don 14 but when I was facing that she risked her life to save me. Ama po anun na thapin min chana khatiang hun la oma khana ti the scar remains asir te chuala omrenga ma se but otherwise Graham has fully recovered ni chu athavek to Adam Tony. Graham returned to Palm Spring Marsh but has not searched again for his lost pistol. Anche sol na mun kha afatlo le ni Graham khan ma se pistol bo kha azong non to lo. Crocodile are territorial, he knows. Crocodile hi tamde won omlowa territorial ni so rambi kan nei ni so area big. Adang crocodile local chuan in swal mai thin hey chongkor mo king cobra kan ti ang deuh hian area big mun bi kan neya anen tilal em mani khalai khan khawang khan khoilaya po thil omse an se mai thin ani. And while he was not seen the two-tea tormentor he angai to chhuak ani scar te pon theng chu sir ang deuh khan khalai mun kha mi thla cham reng to don ani chu akal khan tuna po hian a soinon le chu khalaya khanin hatam deuh mai mo mi ti chet thei tu kha low mil ringa. Graham imagined as his airboat glides over dark still water that he is being watched. A low mil ring mai ni chu an chet vela a long vel an khoilai khan khati zong khan zir ani ti khan in lo chiar non le anga in thiam vek tura nga yang kalome.